How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys Alex and Ryan. So the Yankees with another spring training W. Some big performances today. Juan Soto being Juan Soto. Yonder Vivas sending it into Yorbit. We are excited to break down this game for you guys and give you the main takeaways. If you missed it, obviously Monday, people are working. We are working the game. Got you guys covered on all the updates and news of all the individual performances and standout players and the players who didn't play so well. So got you guys covered there. But Ryan, before we dive into it, how you doing today, my friend? And what are you thinking about Juan Soto being Juan Soto?
I'm feeling good, man. And, right now I feel like the New York Yankees, again, you're watching these games not because you're looking and you're saying, I need some guy to have this OPS today, I need this guy to do that, or whatever it may be. You're just looking for these guys to put together good at-bats, good swings, look good on the mound, and stay healthy. And, ultimately, Alex, I felt like there were a lot of really encouraging signs. On the offensive side of the ball, of course, Juan Soto almost going yard. He just barely missed that. Maybe he needs to do a couple more push-ups in the dugout. But that was a really encouraging swing. The Yankees as a whole, they had some encouraging at bats. Obviously, some of the standouts, Yonder Vivas hitting another home run today. It's his second home run in 2 games. He has 2 walks on top of that, which came in the first game. Overall, very encouraged by what he's done in the spring so far. Again, not really going to start drawing conclusions and saying this guy's the future, whatever it may be. We've seen prospects have strong spring trainings and, not have it translate to the regular season or whatever it may be. But it's just nice to see him have good at-bats. I think that's kind of the big thing here. I'm just really encouraged by what we've gotten from Yonder Vivas thus far. I think he's made, a strong first impression, which is awesome. And I think that he's somebody that more people are hopefully going to be paying attention to and is going to start looking at in Yankee circles. Another prospect I kind of wanted to highlight was Jace Avina, who the Yankees also acquired in a trade this winter. They acquired him in the deal for Jake Bauers. And, I've always, I really liked this acquisition. I thought Avina had a lot of really solid power tools. And he got to put that on display. Hit a ball really hard, 388 feet out to left center. Had another double, but it wasn't a very hard hit one. It was just kind of like a well-placed double is the best way to put it. But I thought he had some pretty good swings and a lot of really competitive at-bats. And ultimately, it's hard to say that you're not encouraged by some of the things you've seen on offense. So, I think guys have put together good swings. I think guys have, looked healthy in camp. And, I think the best way to illustrate that is with the pitching staff. I really was really impressed by Nestor Cortes today. I know the line says 7 hits and 2 were earned runs, but in terms of just the crispness of the fastball, the life, the movement, the velocity, everything was there. I feel like command-wise, he was executing his pitches well. I just felt really encouraged. I felt like this was a really good outing and a really strong outing for Cortes, who has not pitched in a competitive game since he was hurt, right? So, this is our first time seeing him in about 6 months. Ultimately, a very encouraging performance for him and a pretty good performance for the pitching staff as well. They would shut down the Twins for the rest of the game, so hard to be unhappy with that. We saw Poteet and Morris. They also impressed. Overall, just a really strong game, Alex. And again, we're not, sitting here going to go, oh my God, World Series winners, we just won another spring training game. It's more so a matter of we got to see a lot of things that were encouraging, that were impressive, and we're just, glad to continue to see those signs after the first 2 games of spring training.
Absolutely. And just to throw this out there kind of from left field, pun intended, Yonder Vivas, his swing is gorgeous. I don't know, that home run, man, he launched the absolute crap out of that thing. Do you know what the max exit velocity on that was by chance?
I think he just hit a tick under 100 miles an hour. It was more of a pulled fly ball job.
Yeah,
but
it was.
It's still impressive. It's an impressive piece of wood.
Pause, big time. But when you're looking at that swing specifically, he gets that launch angle had to have been 15 degrees and up. I mean, maybe even more. It could have been 20 degrees and up because he like uppercutted it. And it was something else, man. I think it went really, really high in the air, but really nice job from Yonder Vivas, a guy that's really starting to put together a really good spring training over the past couple of days. Of course, still early, but 2 home runs already, really showcasing that talent, a guy that we acquired this offseason. And look, like Yonder Vivas, this is the hot take Ryan and I have right now. Don't sleep on him as a potential option at third, potentially second base, third base long-term. Maybe long-term there. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. So you got to see how his defense develops. Got to see how he continues to hit the ball in the minor league system. But so far, so good. We really like him. He's a really, really good young player that we're excited to keep watching as his development continues here. But, some good performances across the board. DJ LeMahieu had a hit and a run over 2 at-bats. Love to see him in that leadoff spot. Of course, Soto barely missed that home run. Every time that guy goes up to the plate, I love his confidence. And I was thinking about this today, Ryan. I'll get your take on it. I'm sure you're probably right in line with me on this one. The way that he operates in the batter's box, the confidence he exudes, the way that he kind of, the discipline he has more so, every time he sees a pitch, every time, even when he swings and misses, he's like, that's a good pitch. You can see in his face, like, that's a good pitch. You know what I mean? Like, he gives respect to the pitcher, but he said it yesterday after yesterday's game, like, he makes it known he's going to have fun with it, man. He's going to crank a 500-foot homer, and he's going to make it known that he just hit the crap out of the ball against you. But if you strike him out, he's going to give you that respect too. It goes both ways. But he is so confident in the batter's box, the way it just exudes that. It makes everybody around him better. If you're Aaron Judge and you see Juan Soto up there pimping it, and you see him up there, like, doing his drag, his shuffle, the whole nine, and he's getting on base, he's walking, you see him nodding his head like he's got that ridiculous confidence, and you're sitting there and you're Aaron Judge, you're like, I get to hit after this guy? What a luxury, man. Absolute luxury. I mean, the Yankees, if you don't extend this guy long term, man, I mean, who the hell are we at this point? If you're the New York freaking Yankees, you extend this guy because you're the New York freaking Yankees. That's the truth of it. You don't let a guy like this walk. Of course, we're months, if not a year, away from that becoming a reality. But the New York Yankees do this type of thing. They go out and they sign superstars. And this is not just a superstar. This is a superstar Hall of Fame talent at 25 years old. You don't stumble upon these every day. These guys are hard to find. This is like finding a gem. Looking at some other standout performances, Ben Rice had a run today. Love to see him. Stanton, not so great from him. Again, first at bats of the season, of the preseason, nothing to really write home about there. Not going to worry about it. Gleyber Torres had a couple of nice moments. Had a hit and an RBI. Also had a really nice kind of lunging play at second base defensively. So, what are your thoughts right now on Gleyber? Obviously, him piecing together a good defensive and offensive campaign, what that means for his bag that he wants to get next offseason, obviously going to be a free agent. He's trying to put that together. And another really big standout performance today, Elijah Dunham had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Had been kind of quiet, played left field after Verdugo was pulled today. But what are your thoughts on Gleyber? His, putting things together, being more of a balanced player on both sides of the ball, and then Elijah Dunham, and, what you see his role could be long term. I think right now I see it probably as more of a trade piece than anything.
Yeah, so, starting out with Stanton here, I thought the swings were good. The results weren't there, but, I mean, I'll live with it. Like, I just needed to see him get his reps in and, again, just health, right? Like, I've said it for pitchers, and it's more so for pitchers than hitters probably, because hitters, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't stick from spring training to the regular season. Outside of, like, exit velos, you're not really going to be looking at much else. Whereas for pitchers, you look at pitch shapes, health, all that stuff. But as long as Stanton says after today, yep, I feel good, my body feels good, my body responded well. You were talking about barrel accuracy. I think that's going to be an important thing for him, just being able to get on top, underneath the baseball for line drives and not chop at it or hit infield fly balls. I think those are going to be important, and I'm really excited to see how he progresses through spring training. Gleyber Torres, as you mentioned, made a good play, has some good swings. Gleyber, this is a walk year for him, so this is a big season for him financially. This is going to determine a lot about his future, not just with the Yankees, but in general, in terms of Major League Baseball. Looking at a guy like Elijah Dunham, probably a depth guy in the organization, really had his stock fall last year because he went from a guy who, got to AAA, good year in AA, looked like he could factor into the Major League equation to, he got demoted to AA midseason. He really struggled in AAA. There are things to like about his profile, sure, but he's going to have to put it together in AAA again. I imagine he'll get a chance there, but yeah, he's going to have to put that together, and he's going to have to rebound after what was a not great 2023 season. And look, the odds are low for him. The Yankees have a very stacked outfield in terms of their depth, and he's a guy who a year ago we would have been talking about as one of those depth pieces. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case, and that speaks a little bit to the depth of the organization, but it also speaks to the lack of performance last year. That's something that he'll have to turn around. Looking at the pitching side of the ball, it's probably where I had the most intrigue. Morris and Poteet looked really good. Both of them collected 3 strikeouts each and, held them scoreless. Odiner Mosqueda is somebody I think that Yankee fans should be paying attention to. Not like somebody that you should look at and say, this guy's the next, Clay Holmes or whatever it may be. I'm not going to go that far. But somebody who I just think is interesting. He's a left-hander who the Yankees picked up in minor league free agency from the Boston Red Sox organization. Is a funky left-hander, has a high-spinning slider, and he's kind of tweaked his breaking ball a little bit. It's more of a tight slider. It's been classified as a curveball in AAA, but it's very clearly not a curveball. He has a solid changeup as well. Got a good amount of whiffs. Again, against like the Twins C team at that point. I mean, they didn't even bring out their A team today. So I guess that's also something we should know. But yeah, I was just impressed with his velocity, with his stuff. I think he's got a little bit of uniqueness to him, and I think he's kind of like a souped up version of Matt Crook in that regard. And unfortunately, Crook didn't work out here. He's now with Baltimore. But looking at Morris, I think Morris might have blown me away the most. Not to say that Poteet was bad. Poteet struck out 3 guys in less than 2 innings pitched. Like, that's pretty impressive. But Morris, this is his first outing of the year. He's had health problems before, so I'm definitely interested to see how his health holds up. His velo was down for a little bit from last year, but you kind of expect that early on. But the fastball shape, a little more ride on his fastball, relied on his cutter a lot. That was a pitch that really took a step back for him last year and was a good pitch for him in 2022, but not as good in 2023. I hope, he could get comfort with that pitch. The changeup, he was relying on his changeup a little bit more. And I was talking to a couple of people who are Guardians fans and who have watched him pitch and have said, his changeup's really good. There are just times where he's not comfortable locating it and throwing it. And, I think the feel for his changeup will be super important. I think Morris will start out in AAA, be a starter. They stretched him out as a starter today. They gave him 2 1/3 innings of work, so that indicates that they're going to look at him as a starter. I imagine Poteet will also get starting reps. He wasn't as impressive in terms of swings and miss stuff, but I thought the command of everything was really good. I thought Poteet looked strong. Like, again, the crispness of his stuff, everything looked good. And yeah, like I'm just really encouraged by the pitchers today. Like, I know obviously 9 runs. You see 9 runs and you go, oh my God, that's 9 runs on the board. But Alex, I was just blown away by the pitching today. I thought they looked really good. I'm not saying I'm going to start, penciling in Cody Poteet for everyday starts in the rotation or penciling in Cody Morris for everyday starts in the rotation. But, Poteet is somebody who we've been told routinely by people, close to the organization. Michael Kay said it even on the broadcast. The Yankees really did their homework on this guy. In terms of Cody Morris, Baseball America ranked him as a top 20 prospect in the organization or a top 30, somewhere in that range. That's at least somebody to know. If Luis Gil threw 2 1/3 innings pitched and struck out 3 batters, we would be talking about it. I feel like Cody Morris deserves to be in that conversation with guys like Beater, Gomez, Heel. I know he's a little bit older than that crop of prospects, but age isn't as important as experience, in my opinion, in terms of just like from that 24 to 27 range. Experience kind of trumps, your age there. And yeah, like I feel like the Yankees minor league pitching depth, like that's something that people are gonna need to pay attention to more. That AAA rotation looks pretty strong. They've got Morris and Poteet, they've got Warren, they've got Beater, they've got Heel. They can also go to Gomez. Maybe Gomez steals a spot in that rotation, but they've got 6 guys who could start in that AAA rotation and potentially factor on the major league team and are, with the exception of Warren, who's the best starter in that group, they're all on the 40-man roster. So, Alex, their depth's going to be tested this year, and I was encouraged to see their depth get tested and pass that first initial test.
Absolutely. I mean, you see the pitching. Obviously, Nestor Cortez gives up 7 hits, but at 4 Ks. I liked a lot from what I saw from Nestor today. He was being aggressive. His velocity looked really good. Obviously, you have to work your way up. Pitching sometimes can take a little bit to develop during spring training, but the bullpen looked fantastic. I mean, they combined for 6, 7, 8 Ks. So that's really solid from them. And, we'll see more Cortez this spring, obviously. 7 hits, you want to bring that down a little bit, but he was being aggressive, having some fun out there, testing his stuff, testing his velocity, and that's really what it's all about. This is not about putting together a perfect performance. This is about testing your pitches. Obviously he's working his way back from injury, so that's a paramount kind of variable in this equation. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. Always happy to have a good conversation down there. We appreciate you and your support very, very, very much. So thank you as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.